All right, so welcome to our team call for April 15th. We had talked about just having some like open floor mastermind type calls because I think it's just really good for us to kind of come together and connect, share what's working, share what you're struggling with perhaps. I know a lot of people's situations and schedules have all changed, especially those of us with kids home, or job changes or things like that. So I think it's important towards the end of this call, after I go through a couple things, if you guys want to like share if there's something that's working for you, or if you want to share something that you're specifically struggling with, and perhaps someone else can maybe give you some advice or input or feedback on how to navigate through those things. But first, I want to allow the coaches who have new coaches on, if you want to introduce your coach and welcome them to our team.
I can. Yay. Okay. Ashley, are you going? Oh, okay. I'll go. So I have Ashley Fisher's on right now, and this is her first team call. She joined us like a week ago, I think a week ago today.
Pretty much, yeah.
For our coach, meet and greet, and thankfully, she decided to join the crew. So I'm super excited to have her, and I'm psyched that I've been seeing just all of the random, like just her posting already. She hasn't come with her coming out. She's waiting. She has like 4 days to finish the prep, and then she's going to do her coming out post, which I'm excited for, and I hope everyone cheers her on. But I'm super psyched she dove in. And of course, my girl Jenny, who I know her and I were almost asleep earlier, and she's back on.
Yay. Awesome. So happy to see your face again.
Yes.
I'm happy to be here.
Happy to have another Ashley on the team. All right.
Both in Pittsburgh, and I just love that.
And you're like 10 minutes away from my house, which is insane.
The fact that we have a Pittsburgh connection too, or a Connecticut connection, I'm like, it's fate. It was fate.
Oh,
so cool.
So excited. Awesome. I would like to welcome my brand new coach and dear friend, Tiffany. She is a fellow angel mama of mine. We have been friends since 2016. Yes. And she is at school right now to be a nurse at Vanderbilt. And she's got a whole bunch of boys at home. She's a busy mom. And she's just awesome. And she just joined last night. So this is her first team call, first time meeting everybody in person. I told her if she has any questions, shoot them out. That's what we're here for. And I'm super stoked to have her on the team. She's ready to hit the ground running, and she's starting with 10 rounds.
Awesome. Yay. So cool. Did you say you had 6 kids in your house? Is that what you said, Tiffany?
They're not all mine.
Okay.
I have 3 boys of my own. The rest are just adopted for the evening.
Awesome. All right. Well, welcome to the team, ladies. It's awesome to have you here. And so quickly, as new coaches, you'll quickly find that you're going to learn a lot from team calls. And they're just so important to really feel connected, feel a part of the team, come here to get motivated, inspired, and just, show up to learn. So I'm going to go through a couple of things tonight that I am doing right now that are really helping me stay afloat. And I don't know about you guys, but who else feels like exhausted on the regular? That's me right now. So Power Pockets is what's working for me for working. So I'm going to share a little bit about that. But whether you guys were on the call with Alexis Doss or not, I want to remind you to go back and watch that call if you haven't seen it, because it was really all about just the confidence and the energy for inviting. But she also gave a lot of really great tips for growing on Instagram. And so I have personally always built my business on Facebook. That's still where a lot of people that I help come from. But I've also been working on growing my Instagram a lot, and I've gotten more in a groove with networking and connecting on there. So I figured, I know a lot of you are wanting to grow on Instagram. Is that something you guys are working on that will find helpful? Okay, so I wanted to share, because I don't know about you guys, but I feel like it can be overwhelming to try and work on Facebook and then on Instagram, and how to find the time, especially when we're short on time right now. So first I want to mention, and this is in the team page like in the files, but there's a tracker called the Tribe Power Hour, and it's specifically just a networking power hour. So it asks you to like create an engaging or Instagram post, create one Instagram story with a poll on it, leave 10 compliments, like 25 photos. So it's pretty simple to go through it pretty quickly. But what's working best for me right now, all of you guys know I'm like old school with pen to paper. So I have a small notebook right now that this is what I'm doing. And I try to do this 5 times a week. So given, I know you guys can relate that there are probably days where you feel mentally burnt out from kids or jobs or stress or whatever it is right now. So my goal is to do this 5 days a week, and I'm already seeing a lot of people starting to follow me back, new engagements in my stories, having lots of new conversations happening, which is what we want. And I think it's important to remember while we're networking that it's not necessarily going to be an instant result. Like you're out there having conversations, you're talking to people. It's not going to be like you have an influx of 25 people signing up overnight, but over the next month, 2 months, 3 months, that's kind of how our business works. Is the more that you're connecting, the more that you're building relationships, the more opportunities you have to therefore invite people. And so the work you're putting in now is going to kind of build that momentum and pay off in the long run. So what I'm doing is on one side, I have connections, and that's my goal, to do that many connections in a day. And on the other side, I have invites, and I'll get to where I'm inviting from too. But for connections, what's really, really working for me right now is either going to a page of an influencer that I follow. So if you have specific, like say you're into home decor, or you have a blended family, or you're a single parent like me, that's like a lot of what I go look for. But I go to someone's page that's an influencer that I follow, and I go to one of their posts that I like and or resonate with, and I click on the likes of the posts. Are you following me? And I scroll all the way to the bottom, because if there's say 400 people that like that post, I go all the way to the bottom. And then what I'm looking for is that it has an actively spinning little rainbow circle. So the person has an active Instagram account, right? They're actually like, to me, if they're using stories, they're probably active on Instagram. And if they're not, they're probably not. So I'm only connecting with people that have active Instagram stories. And what I'm doing is I'm clicking on their story, and if there's something that I resonate with or want to comment on, it might be something they posted about food, or quote or something like that, I will either drop an emoji on their story, or I'll write a quick comment and ask a question. So I'm starting a lot of conversations that way. And then I go to their page, I like 5 photos, and I comment on one photo. And I'm not hitting the follow button, because what was happening for me was I was ending up with an insane amount of followers or following, and not like going back to unfollow them. But what I'm finding is that by engaging on their stories, liking the photos, and commenting on a photo, I'm getting at least 5 to 7 follow backs in a day, which might not seem like a lot, but if you're doing this consistently, it's going to build you a really awesome organic following with people that are like-minded, because you're intentionally connecting. So that's what's working for me right now with the networking, is this little tracker, liking the 25 photos, leaving 10 comments, going through, I think there's like 24 lines on this notebook. So you can set a personal goal. Maybe your goal is to connect with 10 people a day, 15, whatever works for you and the time you have. But that's really important, to always be connecting and having new eyes on things. And I loved the reminder on the Alexis Doss call, was she's like, inviting should not be easy. It should not be hard, right? Typically it's hard to invite, because you're like, who can I go talk to? Who should I invite? I don't have enough conversations to go to right now that I actually feel like I'm at the place where I can invite someone. And so if we're focusing more on networking, then the inviting is going to come easier. So I hope that's helpful. And then what I'm doing for, does anybody want me to cover those tips really quick, like bullet points, if you're writing them down? Or I can put them in the team page too, if you want. No, you're good? Okay, so for inviting, what I'm doing is I'm either inviting from my stories, which means you need to be active in your stories. And on our one little tracker, if you guys are new coaches, you'll see in where our new coach videos are, there's a business activity tracker to print out that you can follow. But it gives you suggestions of what to post in your stories if you're not already posting, like your daily life, your workout clips, talking about what's going on, sharing your food, whatever. But I'm inviting people that are following my stories, whether it's on Instagram and or Facebook. I'm inviting people that connect with my posts. And then I'm also, I just lost my train of thought. I'm also inviting on Instagram from my actual followers. So if you go to if you're newer and you don't have a big following, that's fine. Don't worry about it. But for me, I have over 4,000 followers, right? And a lot of these people I don't typically connect with. So what I'm doing is I'm going into my followers, I'm going to my Instagram page, I'm clicking on my followers, and I'm going through and I'm either starting a conversation from there or I'm inviting that person. And so for me, this has been like a really great push, this challenge. Like I asked you guys if you're doing this 300 Invite for Impact Challenge, which by the way, I put this PDF in the files of the team page if you want to print it out and you want to do it for fun with us. I know I do way better with accountability. But it's been really pushing me out of my comfort zone to go connect with and invite a lot of the people that have been following me for a long time, but I haven't necessarily had conversations with, or they're just kind of following silently, right? Ashley Fell Dyson says this a lot. She's, very successful in this business. And she's like, I'll sit down and I'll pick a letter of the alphabet. And that's the category of people that I invite from my Instagram followers that day. So if you're feeling like you're running short on who to invite and who to talk to, I would suggest just sitting down, writing out the names from your Instagram story and or Facebook stories, who's been liking your posts recently, and then writing down some of your followers, and then make that your goal to go invite them. And it's also helpful if you're scrolling social media to write down some names of people that you want to connect with the next day. So when you sit down to work, you have a game plan of what to do.
Hey,
Okay.
Dana, real quick.
Yeah.
Just for the newer coaches, when you go into your Instagram followers and you pick that letter of the alphabet and you just start inviting from there, what are you saying?
So a lot of times if I haven't had a conversation with this person, I'll say something along the lines of like, hey, I seen that you've been following my account for a while. I just wanted to reach out and connect with you. I don't know if you've noticed, but I run online wellness and accountability groups. Are you interested or looking for some form of self-care right now during this time? Something short and sweet along those lines. It's not in like a direct, I have a boot camp starting on blah, blah, blah. We're doing short fitness, whatever. I'm not saying any of that. It's just kind of a short question of if they have any interest, because if they are following you, they most likely have seen something you shared and or posted, even if they've never engaged on it. And what's the worst that can happen? Right? They're like, no, not interested. And then they're following you, or they say they are interested and they have been following you silently, because that's the case a lot of times. On the note of inviting, and I think this is really, really important right now. So especially if you're new coaches, like we are always working to try and help people with the full solution, which is probably how you as new coaches signed up. Most of us did, but with Beachbody On Demand plus Shakeology or plus Performance Line, right? Because that is a total solution. They get fitness, they get nutrition, they get Shakeology, they get accountability, and that is everything someone needs to see full results. But what we're running into right now, a lot more than we ever have before, is money objections, which is the next thing I'm going to get to. But I just want to put it out there right now that my biggest focus is helping people where they're at. I have had a lot of people come to me that want to join a fitness accountability group, but they already have Beachbody On Demand. So if they want Shakeology or nutrition plan, I'm talking to them about that. If they don't, I'm still allowing them into my challenge groups because I think it's really important to support people right now. If people lost a job or they truly don't have income, I'm responding with a how can I help you in a way that fits in your budget right now? Like, what is the most that you can spend on this? Because they can do a 3-month Beachbody On Demand membership and energize, or they can just do 3-month Beachbody On Demand alone. I've had quite a few people do that. I've had some people do just Beachbody On Demand for the year. But I think it's really, really important to not just say, okay, they can't afford the challenge pack right now and turn them away, right? Help people where they're at, because if they get in, they have that fitness, they have the accountability, they have the support. They're more than likely going to stick with this, right? And see what everybody else is doing in the group, and perhaps down the road be more likely to want to get a nutrition plan or Shakeology or something like that. But my main point is that we have so many different options to give to people right now. Maybe they just need a nutrition plan like 2B Mindset to get, emotional eating in check. Maybe they just need fitness for stress relief. But being really willing in those conversations to ask people what they need most and help them find a solution that works for them right now. And I put some great graphics in the team page today. If you missed it, explaining the value of a challenge pack versus just a Beachbody On Demand membership. And I also, I can share again the Instagram story that I'm posting as of recently as an invite, where it gives them the different options for joining, the 3-month, the 6-month, the 1 year, or the total solution, so that people can really decide for themselves what works best for them right now. So I'll make a note to share that again. As for money objections, like I said, probably if you're anything like me, you're getting a lot of those right now, more so than normal. And I personally feel like this is the biggest opportunity for us to share the coaching opportunity. It always has been for me when I get a money objection to share the coaching opportunity. But right now, I feel like a lot of people are way more open-minded than they ever have been before in the conversations that I'm having. And it's probably because I'm being very kind of nonchalant about it. Like, hey, if you didn't realize, like, you can start this, you can help a couple of your friends that are looking to have a fitness solution at home right now and have some self-care. We're hosting, just so you guys know, next Sunday night, we're hosting another Meet the Team. So I'm currently inviting people to join that. All I'm saying, and I can actually, I'll go grab an invite that I sent earlier and post it in the comments for you, but I'm just letting people know that we're having an event Sunday night where a couple people on our team are going to be sharing the story, their stories, and a little bit about what we do as coaches, to see if this is something that might interest them. I'm going to put that in the comments. It's literally super simple. It's not scary. I'm not like word vomiting all about what we do. I'm just letting them know that we have an amazing opportunity to be a part of, and see if they're interested in coming to learn more about that. So personally, that's my 2 suggestions, is when you get money objections right now, is to meet people where they're at and find a solution that works for them, but also share the coaching opportunity. Change the end. Yes, that's true. You're very right. That's what Jessica taught us, isn't it? Okay, so the next thing, does anybody have questions about that, or something that you're doing right now that works for you? Mary Paige?
Hey, when you're getting the money objection and you're bringing this into the conversation nonchalantly, I struggle with how to bring it up nonchalantly, but also be like, well, there is this opportunity here, but not like be sleazy about it, because it's like, to me, it obviously makes sense, but I also struggle with it, like, do they just think that I'm just after their whatever? I don't know. What are you saying? Like, what's that transition that you're saying to people to bring them into sharing the opportunity?
Okay, so first, I think that's a perception shift. Is that, like, we can't perceive it that people are going to think we're out to get their money, because it's not what we're out to do. Like, that's not a fear we need to have. If that's not the truth, is how I feel about it. I'm genuinely sharing because this business has changed my entire life, not just my fitness and nutrition, but literally my entire life and my financial situation. So I don't have any hesitation about throwing that out there in a conversation if that's something they might be interested in. And how I'm typically transitioning is I say something along the lines of, I don't know if you've ever considered. And I tie in my story a lot of the time because I was a newly single mom. I was broke. Like, like it was hard to invest in a challenge pack. And I say what I did. I said, if you have a couple friends that might be interested in getting fit with you, I can actually go. I had this conversation a couple days ago. I can go find it and post it for you. If you have a couple friends that you think might be interested in joining you for a challenge, we can get your own paid for, because that is the truth. If they can find 3 to 4 friends that want to sign up, it'll completely pay for their challenge pack. And then what are they missing out on? Nothing. So I always say you have the opportunity to be able to work on you, but to start earning income and helping other people along the way. And that's as simple as a transition as it really gets. Really, like, have you ever considered, and then tie in whatever feels right for you to say.
Okay. All right. Because I have been getting a lot of the I'm unemployed now, I don't have the extra cash, I've got other bills to pay type thing. And I want to bring it up. I am in a very different situation where like that's not something that, and I've been talking to Nick about this and we can talk about it a different time, but like if I'm just having a really hard time relating to some of the people I'm talking to about them being in that situation, right? Because that's not something that we're personally having to deal with. So if anybody else feels that way, or like, I don't know, that's kind of where I'm coming from, and that's what I'm struggling with the most right now. So
I can understand that, but I also think that, like, you kind of have to think bigger pictures, that like, even if you're not struggling with this specific situation at this point in time, have you ever struggled financially at any point in your life? Like, can you relate to what that feels like? Because I can. I don't know if anybody else can, but like, you need to be able to tap into that feeling. And I think it's that feeling of, things are really rough for me right now, and that is totally out of my control, but what can I control? And that's what we're giving people the opportunity to do, is to be able to have some type of control if they so choose to want that for their lives, right?
mm-hmm. Okay.
And I think too, on that line, just because from talking with different people, I've also come to learn that like I can't assume just because they're saying that they're out of work. You know, there are so many different things going on right now for people who have lost their jobs because of all of this for now. You know, they are getting, eventually their, you know, unemployment checks are full. Like, it's their full income of what they would normally have. They may just not have it right now. And I mean, and I think that's also where we have to meet them where they're at, is say, okay, well, for now, how about, you know, we give you the 2 weeks free. Then, you know, after a week and a half, tell me how you like it. Let's check back in. You know what I mean? And then go from there. Because that may get them to say, oh, well, okay, yeah. And then by then, I mean, we all know in 2 weeks, so much can change with all of this. And I know for me, like, if it were me, because we have struggled, and when I started, like, it was really hard for me to come up with, for me, 180. And you just have to sit there and go, okay, so I'm supplementing one meal with Shakeology. Cool. All right. That makes it easy for my budget. You know what I mean? Like, all right, that works out. But then I also think it comes to the point of, well, people aren't going out anymore. They're not going out for dinner. They're not going to get their nails done. They're not going to get their hair done. They're not doing all of these things that they would normally be doing. And then there's also, like, I mean, I just got mine today, but stimulus checks that are there to help. And personally, for me, if I were really ready, my stimulus check would come in, I'd pay my bills, see what I have left, and be like, hey, coach, here's what I have left. I want to invest in me. So, like, I think we just have to, again, meet them where they're at, have that. I mean, it's an uncomfortable conversation because no one really wants to talk about financials. But if they really, really want this, and you can feel that they want it, I think it's our responsibility to say, hey, we've got options. Here's what they are. No pressure. You let me know.
Yeah. I think the biggest like point of that is coming back to the reminder, and this goes for any time, not just right now, but is it's not our job to decide for people. It's our job to give people the opportunity to say yes or no for themselves and make a decision if that is something they want to partake in. So I love that, Ashley. Okay, so does anybody else have questions about objections that are coming up, or any like mental block that you're having that you want to work through about them?
Yes. I'm just gonna be real vocal today on this call. So I don't know if anyone else has noticed, but like, have the algorithm shifted, or I feel like I'm not getting as many eyes on my posts, on my stories as I normally would. And I would think with everyone being home, like they would have gone up, but I'm actually starting to see mine kind of either flatline or just kind of like chill out. I'm not really sure, but if anyone's seen anything like that or can relate.
I felt like
Yeah.
that a couple weeks ago, but I feel like there's a couple different things. I feel like there are a lot more people active on social media than normal. There are a lot like more posts to compete with. And I also think that people are mentally exhausted and there's a lot going on and they're distracted. So they're perhaps not necessarily engaging or consuming content the same way. Cause I don't know if you guys like feel the same, but like you're almost like too tired to even read someone's something. Cause you're just like, you're brain dead by the end of the day. I think that's part of it too. But I would also say like, I am seeing a climb in that change. By focusing on things that are a little bit more engaging. Like for some reason TikToks are crazy right now. Like people need things that are happy and joyful and funny and easier to digest, mixed in with the things that you actually want people to read. But I also think the networking is a big part of it. A lot of those like, hey, how are you, checking in with people kind of messages. What did Jenny say? A lot more screen time. Yeah. That's so true. Done with screen time. And or when you deal with kids all day long, your brain just doesn't quite work anymore. Okay. Anything else about objections? Any kind of objections. It doesn't matter what. We're good. Okay. Okay, so I just wanted to touch on this, and I would love if you guys want to weigh in if this is something you're working on too. And then I want to share something that actually Elizabeth Harkey had shared on our Star Diamond Mastermind yesterday that I think is really helpful, and it's a really important thing to kind of remember, especially at this point in time where it's a little more challenging because we are a lot more distracted than usual. But what's working for me right now in terms of actually getting business work done, aside from trying to find a schedule with homeschooling and all of those kind of things, is like, make your routine like first and foremost non-negotiable. Like if you have a morning routine where you gratitude journal, you work out, you do whatever it is to help you feel mentally well, because I almost like look at it as like putting on my emotional armor for whatever crazy is going to happen for the day. And I think
Give
that,
her a moment, y'all. Her computer will come
I was
back.
just gonna say.
did I freeze?
Is it her
I'll tell
computer?
you guys all your kids are on your laps.
Oh, I
Wasn't
mean,
me,
hey,
did I
they're
freeze?
learning.
You just froze.
You froze hardcore, D.
We missed like all of that.
Hardcore. Don't even know what you said.
We legit just had like our own little side conversation.
That's so weird. And I've been talking to myself the whole time and I've been moving in my own screen. Okay, so I was saying basically like your own, like this is our number one vital behavior is like be proof of the product's work. But it's like, I look at it as more like your commitment to your own journey right now, like working on your fitness, working on your nutrition, working on your mindset, probably more than anything else. I loved what she said on the National Wake Up Call on Monday about how you need to be working on what's from the neck up more than you work on what's from the neck down, because if you're working on what's from the neck up, the what's, you know, from the neck down below is going to like fall in line. But I think the mental wellness component right now is really, really important and really huge. So working on that, because truly, I don't know about you guys, but if I feel burnt out, like I do not feel like being motivating, inspiring, or like having conversations. So for me, it's like a number one priority to make sure that I am keeping myself in a place where I am feeling good. And with that said, is when you need it to take breaks or take time down. Take time to rest. If you have a day where you literally feel like you don't have the capacity to work your business, that's fine. Just know that you're going to make that up the next day. And I wanted to share kind of a mindset for that is really helpful for me, that maybe you guys would relate to. But I don't know if you ever have a day where you're like, I need to get work done today. I need to sit down and invite, like, I want to help people join my challenge group this month, whatever, but you're really not mentally in that headspace. And then if you sit down and you try to force yourself to do your business work, it just feels shitty. Your energy is not the same. Your invites are not the same. The responses you're getting are not the same, because you're not coming from that like motivated, happy, passionate, I'm excited to help people space. It's coming from like a desperate, lack-minded, funky energy. I'm just forcing myself to do it, which is, I don't know what I said the other day in the team page, but I said something along the lines of like, connect to your vision and why you're here before you sit down to do the invites. Like it's not important just to go through and check off the boxes on your tracker and your vital behaviors. It's important to actually do them in a way that you are like proud of doing them and feel good about doing them. So with that said, I like to think about this as like forcing yourself versus having the accountability that you're actually going to do what you know you need to do for your business or for the goals you have or for the amount of people you want to help, whatever that is. But like, instead of forcing yourself to do it when it doesn't feel good, like give yourself an hour, go listen to a podcast, take a walk with your kids, wait until the kids are in bed, like whatever it is that gets you in a better mind space. Maybe it's drinking Energize and having a dance party. And then have the accountability, the self-accountability and the self-discipline, which is the part that we always have to work on, is like nobody knows what you are doing but you. Nobody is sitting over your shoulder. No one is your boss in this business. You are your own CEO. So having that self-accountability to say, I don't feel good enough right now to do this, so I'm going to take the day off, or I'm going to take a couple hours, but I'm going to come back to this later. And then I'm going to sit down and I'm going to have my focus time. And I find that when I do that, I do way better quality of work and I feel way better about the work that I'm doing versus going into it in force mode in like a shitty mindset. So I hope that's helpful to somebody because it's super helpful for me. And then working in pockets. So if you have a pocket of time, like 20 minutes in the morning, or for me, a lot of my pockets of time right now are when my son is FaceTiming his friends, or playing a game or something like that. And I know that that's my focused power pocket of work time. And the key is to knowing exactly what you're going to do in that point in time, because it's all too easy to sit down to your work time, your focus time, and be like, what am I going to do today? And like go check in on your challenge group, and then you're scrolling social media, and then you're here, and then you're there, and then like your hour and a half is up and you're like, what did I actually get accomplished? So it's been so helpful for me to have this printed out, because I like a challenge and I am a visual person. I like checking off boxes. I like crossing out lists. And sitting down with this notebook and saying this, I put the date at the top, I put connect on one page, I put invite on the other. And I know that that's my number one priority when I sit down to work. And anything else that I have to get done, whether it's connecting with coaches or responding to messages or creating content or anything like that, goes after the vital behaviors. Because if we're not doing vital behaviors, our business is not growing. It's dying, right? It's stuck, it's stagnant. We're not helping people. We're not connecting with people. We're not sharing the opportunity. And that's, for me, first and foremost, always what needs to get done first. And I find that I am way more motivated to do anything else, and I feel way more accomplished when that's done. I don't know about you guys, but I feel like too often I was making these big, long, audacious to-do lists, like, which is not going to happen in this point in time. And then the only thing you end up doing is making yourself feel defeated, because you might get 2 things done instead of 10. And then instead of walking away from your work time feeling like, hell yeah, I just crushed that, I rocked it, you're feeling defeated and like you didn't get anything done. And that affects your mindset and your mood too, right? So like make your to-do list for that power pocket of time that you're going to work, make it something constructive and know exactly what you're going to do when you sit down and work that time. Does anybody have anything they want to add to that that's working for them?
Can I add something?
Yeah.
So, and it's not necessarily, but it goes along with just inviting and it goes along with that call that, I'm blanking, whatever what her name was. I forget.
Alexa.
Yeah. But right now, like my life is just, I can't, like, I'm like, it's horrible right now. Like my stress was the first time my husband last night was like, I have not seen you like this. I don't even know how long. Like, it's just over the top, everything. And, it's clearly shown in where I'm at in, like SE, like I've hit SE for like 43 months in a row. And like right now I'm like, I don't know if I'm going to get it this month. Like I am struggling. And a lot of that is just because like my head's just not there. But what I did find was super helpful was just, and it made it so much easier for me to do connections, even if it was, I did it on, 4 days of the week, was in the morning before anyone got up, when I was like feeling super like energized, or maybe right after my workout, I did the video, like she said, and I would just take literally a 50-second video so that it was one thing being sent. And I recorded myself. So it was good lighting. I was outside or whatever, just saying like, hey, like first I always, would say like, I hope you're doing well during all this madness. I know it's like super, stressful time, and I hope you're holding up okay. Yeah. I can't help but notice I see your name pop up a lot, in my stories or my posts. And, if you're just showing me love, I super appreciate it. Thanks so much. It's always hard to kind of throw yourself out there. But I also want to let you know, like, if you ever are looking, to join one of my groups or interested in what I do as a coach, because right now financially you could use some support. Like I throw in both things now. Yeah. And I'm like, please don't hesitate to reach out at any point. Like would love to, connect with you. And I'm like, and I hope you have a wonderful Thursday or whatever. Yeah. They see me. But what's made it so much easier is before I never liked to type things out. I always was a voice messenger because I think it's really important for people to know you and hear your voice. But when you hold this is so simple, but holding that phone button down and recording the same message over and over and over was driving me up a wall, and my hands would actually hurt, as silly as it was. If you did like 20 of those, my fingers were like going to fall off. This literally, the video's done. I just open it up, send. Talk about like a savior and time for me right now. And then I'm getting so many more people that are at least responding back and that are just saying thank you, number one, for your message. We didn't know you could do that. Like, so it was just like a lot of conversations, and there's some conversations that are interested in what I'm doing, and we're just building. But I just find that I never thought about doing a video like that. And I think it's been huge, no matter what, even just a hi, something, but just to be that like ray of light in their, inbox that day is really nice.
Avery, that it was a team call we had 2 weeks ago. Mm-hmm. So we could tag you in it. Kelly, would you mind sharing if you still have that video? Because I think I saw you post it somewhere in a team page. Will you post that to the team page in case people want to follow it and recreate it? Because I think your wording is great.
Yeah. And the goal is, guys, don't go longer than a minute. You don't need to overdo it. And I don't think you can go longer than a minute. So like, don't make it duplicate, just make it easy. And, but I like that. And I feel like tomorrow it gives me time that I'm going to do that first thing in the morning, and I'm going to send out and blast a bunch. And to go along with, if you guys are trying to figure out like how to, like who to respond to without like writing all the names down, if you find that to be a little overwhelming, what I used to do is like one day of the week, screenshot all the people like that were following my stories, so that I would see like whatever it was, like 12 or 15 on one page. And I would just print those on my printer. So I didn't have to write them out. I would just take one time, print them all out. And my goal was to reach out to every single one of those people by the end of the week. And depending upon where your story is at and your followers, sometimes for me, that was 300 people. Sometimes it was 100 people, sometimes it's 400 people. But my goal was I'm going to connect with every single one of these people for the week. And it gave me a plan, and it made me not take my time of writing them all down, because that was for me just a time saver. I just, and I went through the week and I chalked off and went as I went. And it was just easy for me to do that as a place to kind of start.
I love that. That's a great tip.
So Dana, I will also piggyback on what you were saying earlier as far as getting things done in the pockets of during your day. But definitely, I've always loved the phrase, like, eat the frog first. Like, I mean, if you guys are struggling with inviting or struggling like putting out there, like, that is, if I don't sit down and do what I dislike the most, like the first, because I will put it off to the last, and then it won't get done, and I won't have enough time, or I won't be as energetic in my messages or whatever. So lately, that's what I've just been doing first. Like, before I check into my group, before I check in with anybody else, like, I sit down and I send like at least 10 invites, if not more. So, and I've had days, and I'm like, Kelly, I'm right there with you. Like, I've had days this month where I'm like, I don't want to do anything. I'm struggling. I'm still sitting with a big old goose egg too, with SE points when it comes to stuff. So it's like, it's not easy, but at the same time, you just got to go do it, feel good about it, get like, that energy. I have to get everything done early in the day. Like right now, when we get off this call, like, I'm toast. I can't send any more messages. So, and making sure you stick to a routine. Because I was feeling really guilty about like not responding to messages that I have in my inbox right now. But honestly, if you don't have that energy right now to respond, you're not going to show up in the best way possible. So like, knowing yourself, giving yourself grace, understanding like those messages will still be tomorrow. Like, nobody expects you to like stay up late answering all their questions right now.
Yeah, that's 100% true. And I don't think anybody can be mad, because everyone has so much going on. If you don't respond, it's like the thought of, does your business run you, or do you run your business? And responding to that when that timing works for you, I think, is really important.
I don't remember what call it was on though, Mary Page, and that just reminded me of it too, which is a great reminder, was that she said, I can't remember who it was, but Dana, you might be able to remember because you're like the memory bank over there. But she said, you need to control the conversation. So like, if you feel like you have to respond, be like, hey girl, I am beat today. Let me get back to you in the morning. Okay. Have a great night. Boom. And then the ball's in your court. So if you feel like you need to respond, if it's someone that you feel like probably is like a really great lead or something like that, just be real quick. Hey, thanks so much. I am toast today. These kids have been running me ragged, and we got to get up early for homeschooling, blah, blah, blah. I'll catch up with you in the morning.
Yep. I will say though, that when I've done that, sometimes if I don't write that name down, I personally, like, if I see in my inbox that it's dark writing, that I always know I have to go back to it because I haven't responded. But if I open that message, even if I've responded to it, I often don't go back. I don't remember to go back to it because it looks like it was read to me. So I've had to like chill with the responses of like, I'll get back to you tomorrow, unless I write it in the note section of my phone so that I remember.
I just screenshot those ones so that then I go back and I like constantly, I'm like, oh, need to go back to her, because I've done the same thing.
Yeah. Mark is unread. I don't even know if I know how to mark something as unread. Okay.
I'll show you in the morning, boo. I'll show you in the morning.
The last thing I want to bring up, and I think, we talk a lot about vision at the beginning of the new year. We talk about it here and there, having a vision board, having a vision for your life, having a vision for your business. And I think that in this specific phase of time, like, it's almost like life has kind of stopped. Like, so many things have changed, so many things have shifted, that it's almost like we're in this like weird halted period of time where it's like things are not normal, right? And it's easy to forget that at some point this is going to change, and this is going to come to an end, and like our lives are resuming. They're still happening right now, right? And I think it's really important to have a connection to the vision of the life you want beyond this, but in the business as well. And I was on, if you guys aren't familiar with Elizabeth Hartke, especially you guys that are new, Annalise is my coach. Elizabeth is Annalise's coach. She's incredibly successful, 15-star diamond, Millionaires Club. She's hit all the accolades you could ever possibly imagine, but she's one of the most incredible, humble, and visionary leaders that I think we're also blessed to learn from. And she had a call in our Star Diamond page the other day, and she was talking about the 21 Laws of Irrefutable Leadership, the workbook, which is a great workbook if you ever kind of want to dig into leadership personalities. It's never too early to dig into stuff like that. But she was talking about the kind of opposite sides of the fence and how they're both so important in a business like what we're in. But on one hand, and I'm really curious if you guys want to comment in the chat, like which one you feel like you need to connect to or work on more. Because on one hand, she was talking about how important it is to be a visionary and to be a dreamer. Like you're able to sit back and say, like, you daydream and you're like, I want to be able to go on vacations with my family. I want to be able to pay off all my student loan debt. I want to be able to pay the mortgage on our home with our Beachbody income. I want to be able to whatever. Like I, as a new coach, wanted to be able to fully provide as a single parent, right? You have to have some type of vision and bigger direction for your life and for your business, right? Because what are you fighting for building your business if you don't have a dream or you don't have a vision, right? And then on the flip side, on the other side of the fence is the practicality, is the actual, like, you're the planner, you want the steps, you have the XYZ. This is what I need to do to get to Emerald. This is what I'm going to do to work towards making $500 a week, whatever, right? And how if we have the dreamer and the visionary in us, which a lot of us, like, we dream really big, we think of all these things we want for our lives and our families and all that stuff, but when it comes to actually having the motivation to take the action to move towards those things, it's like, where's the game plan, right? And on the flip side, if we're so strategic in our business of like, I'm going to, work on this many invites and I'm going to help this many people this month. And you have it broken down and it's so strategical, you almost kind of strip the emotions and the joy out of business if that's all it's focused on, right? So she was kind of talking about making sure that you have that balance of having a vision, but also having the tactical plan of action. And I just wanted to kind of prompt you guys and share that with you because I think specifically, especially at this point in time, that it is very, very important to have some type of connection to something bigger that you are working towards in your business. And I'm not saying go plan up this whole grand scheme vision if that's not what you're feeling right now. But having some type of goal that you want to set for yourself, for your own routine, for your own fitness, for your own personal growth through this period of time, and some type of goal for your business for this specific time, because it's so much easier for us to not show up to this if we don't have a connection to the bigger picture of why we're taking the daily actions, right? Like on those days where you are exhausted and you are mentally depleted and like we're on the struggle bus, we don't want to show up and work towards something if we don't know why we're showing up to work on it, right? And then there are those times where we sit back and we dream really big and we think it, like I was sitting there thinking today, like, where is the first place I want to go travel to when quarantine is over? Has anybody else thought about that? Like, where do I want to go? What do I want to do when I'm no longer trapped in my house anymore? But then thinking about like, if I want to go, I don't know if you guys have been feeling this in this specific phase of time, but I feel like it's been a lot of reflection for me of like how I want my life to be different when things do go back to normal, like what I won't take for granted and how I'll make more time. Like a lot of times I'm like, I'm too busy. I can't go do that right now, or I can't go travel there or whatever. That's something that I've been reflecting on a lot, that I don't want to go back to the way that I did things before. And I think this is a really powerful time to think about those things. Is that what are things you want to be able to do more of in your life, or things that you wish were a little different right now, or things that you want to be different for your future? that you can use those as connection and fuel as to why you're showing up in your business right now. Like, there was this call I was on a couple years ago, and I loved what she said, is like, when you ask someone, why are you doing this business? And we always say, because I want to help people, which is true. Like, none of us would be coaches if we didn't want to help people, right? Like, we joined this to change our own lives. We've had transformations. This has been so impactful that you just want to share it with people and you just want to help people. But a lot of times when we say it like that, it's kind of like an against, I don't want to push for numbers, or I don't want to push for certain things, because my focus is just on helping people. And the truth bomb that she dropped in that call was about how, if our focus really is on wanting to help people, we should want to help more people. We should be motivated to focus on those strategical things that actually help us grow our businesses and make a bigger impact, and have that connection towards not just what this can do for our lives, but what we can pay this forward to help other people do in their lives. So I don't know if that's helpful, but it was a super great reminder to me watching that, to really remember that we have to have a vision, and you have to be connected to those dreams and those things that you really want for your life, because this business is the vehicle for those things. But also being connected to those tactical action steps, like we're talking about with tracking your invites, leaning into that accountability, showing up on team calls, like those kinds of things, to really keep moving forward and progressing towards those things. And for me, that's what helps me show up on the days that I don't feel like it, because I remind myself that this phase isn't going to last forever, and I want to be moving towards something positive even at this point in time. So you said I was a stay-at-home mom for 14 years. Yeah, I love that. I've heard that from a lot of people, having spouses home or being home with kids, that it's like I don't ever want to not go back to being able to have this. So I love that. Love it. I love it. Does anybody have anything they want to share? Everybody looks sleepy.
For me, this whole thing is just like totally throwing me out of consistency. And I know if I just sit down and like plot something out, and I have something to invite to, is huge. Like right now it's a little weird for me because I'm doing the reset and I'm not sure what I'm inviting to right now. So even in my conversations of prospects, I don't feel like I have that urgency to like invite them to something. So that's a big one for me. A big tip is always have something to invite to. And when you're feeling kind of like you're falling short, it's probably because you don't have that component. So know what you're inviting to, whether it's a April, May. I had to think about what month was next. Whether it's a May group or a bod group, right? We have bod groups launching. So you might be inviting to be like your first people in a bod group, like trialing a new tracker, looking for 5 new challengers to do this with me. Maybe they get a reward from you for being like a trial and error participant or something. For new coaches, it's an easy way to invite, to say, I'm hosting my first group and I'm just looking for a few people who would be willing to do this with me. I'm brand new to it, but we can do it together, that kind of thing. So always have something to invite to. And I'm going to be working on that, carving out time in my day to focus on my business and getting back to like the small vital behaviors, even like what Dana said of tracking, just having a notebook. Like when I'm on the ball, I've got a notebook where I'm writing down consistently, who did I connect with today? Who can I follow up with? And it is all about that. Like we kind of talked about a lot about like the connecting and the messaging, but it really is like creating a list of people that you genuinely connected with on Instagram today, and then do it again tomorrow. And then in a couple days, you might loop back and say, hey, I don't know if this is something you'd be interested in. So really keep it genuine conversations. We don't want to be the team that just messaged us out like, hey, never talked to you. Hey, a lot of people give the hey girl messages like criticism now, because everyone is messaging people saying, hey girl, have you ever heard of X, Y, and Z? And I like don't even give those people time of day if they've never talked to me. So think about the type of message you would respond to on social media right now in these times, and connect with people that way. And that's my goal.
And I also just have to say, like, just showing up right now, like just showing up and sharing your journey and how you're moving through this. because I've had a lot of people reach out to me, like more recently than I have in like a long time, of just saying like, what is it you're doing for home fitness right now? Or like, how do you stay so motivated? Or like, how are you juggling things right now? Because I personally think that we as coaches have a lot of tools for wellness that the majority of people do not have. They don't have any, you know, facet of consistency, any, like, I think a lot of our routine and the things that we typically do for our own routines are a small sense of control right now. Like, we have control over the food we eat. We have control over moving our bodies every day. We have control over if we're listening to a podcast or reading a book for personal development. We have control of the fact that we have like a community and a team to connect to. Like, we have a lot of resources for self-care and self-help that a lot of people don't have right now. And I think that just showing up and sharing those things, even if people aren't necessarily wanting to join you, they're watching you, because they're watching how other people are dealing with this and how other people are going through this. And you truly never know how many people are actually following that and being inspired by it or wanting to know more about it. And it always reminds me of that when I have total random strangers that have never liked or commented on anything reach out to me and say like, hey, what is it you're doing right now? Or what are those home workouts you're doing? Like, my gym membership my gym is closed right now and I really need support. So just remember to keep like being your own best challenger and keep showing up for your journey and sharing that and how you're moving through it.
That's actually a really great point, Dana. And actually, I can attest to that too, because for the past couple of weeks, I've been kind of going through the motions of Lift 4. I wasn't really loving it third time around. You know how like you get into this mode where you're just not working on yourself anymore. So I wasn't showing up for myself, and I just kind of said to myself, I didn't want to do 10 rounds. I didn't think I'd love it. But I was like, you know what? Everyone's having great results. I'm just going to do it and say, screw it. Like, push through, challenge yourself to something new. And so I posted honestly about how I had gained weight since the holidays and I haven't been able to take it off. And since posting that last Thursday and just getting real and telling people I'm starting something new and sharing it in my stories, sharing it in my posts, I've had more people reach out to me since then saying, hey, what are you doing? I don't have a gym right now. Like, tell me, what are you starting? And that's starting conversations with people I probably would have never I've reached out to them in the past. They're friends of mine, but I haven't in a long time because they kind of were a hard no back then. But now things have changed. So obviously, like, sharing where you at, and Annalisa, you know, to your point of knowing what you're inviting to, like, if you aren't working on your own journey and you aren't in love with what it's doing, like, it's okay to shift. It's okay to change. Like, I was in the middle of Lift 4 and I was like, okay, I got to start something new, get excited about something new. And then you have something to invite to. And then since Monday, when I started, I've been following up with that saying, hey, I don't know if you guys, you know, my invite to them was like, I don't know if you've seen in my posts or my stories, but I just have been struggling. And now I started something new and I'm looking for people, you know, who might be interested in more accountability with me, like kind of posing it as, hey, you want to do this with me? So try to, you know, come after invites that way where you're like, you know, you're not just selling them something, you're definitely asking for them to join you in accountability in this. And if you need it, they obviously need it. So
yeah, and I love your point about if you're not feeling excited about it or it's not working for you, to change it up, because I was starting my second round of the bar program when 10 rounds came out, and I was totally not intending to do it because of how I was feeling. And I did 2 workouts and I was like, this is what I'm doing. I didn't even take before photos because I didn't even like plan to start the week that I started. But once I got into it, I was like, this feels way more aligned with what I personally need right now. And people see that shift in your energy. There's a big difference between going through the motions and just showing up and just posting your clips versus when you're on there and you're like kicking ass and you're smiling and you're having fun and you're excited to show up every day. Big difference. So I love that reminder too. All right, I have a challenge for everybody. I'm going to challenge you to take a photo of our team call right now, whether you hold up your computer screen or you take a selfie with your phone or you boomerang or whatever you do. But to
Riley,
share
get on.
it in your Instagram stories. If you want to make a post about it. And remember that we're doing our meet and greet on Sunday night at 8:30. A couple of us will just share a little bit of our stories, how we got into coaching, how it's serving our lives right now. I think it's really important for people to know how this can impact them now. And I wanted to throw this out there, Mary Page, to you really quick before I forgot, was that there are coaches on our teams that their jobs have shifted right now. And I think there's nothing wrong with bringing that up in a conversation. I actually have, Katie, I brought you up in a conversation to somebody today. I have someone working in the medical field whose hours have been significantly cut. And we've talked about coaching in the past. And I just mentioned to her, I said, we have some coaches on our team that are supplementing some income with job changes right now. Like if you'd want to come, hear some stories of our coaches Sunday night, come join us and come check it out. So like, feel free, even though that's not your scenario, to talk about that. We know people who are in that scenario that are utilizing the coaching opportunity right now to supplement income, because that's amazing. So, all right.
All right, everybody smile so we don't look horrible on these boomerangs.
Hold on.
No one ever wants to be that one person that's like,
like, now you gotta wait because I'm taking a photo. Hang tight for a second. What? Oh, it got stuck. All right. Everybody got a boomerang or photo? Everybody gonna post about it? Sharing your story?
I need someone to send theirs to me because I'm on my phone and I can't get everyone on there.
All right.
So send it to me.
Good to see everybody. If I'll bump the posts, the team call from 2 weeks ago about the inviting stuff if anybody wants to go back and watch it if you missed it. And we'll see you next week.
bye.
Bye, guys.
Bye.